Now we will be talking about carbohydrates. In Hindi generally we say the essential things in life is roti, kapda or makan, which means it is food, shelter and clothing. And all these three things, the essential things for life, is fully dependent upon carbohydrates, because carbohydrates is the main source for all these things. So we are going to talk about carbohydrates. Initially, the word carbohydrate had a group of compounds which were found to have a general formula which corresponded to as if they were hydrates of carbon. You can write it as CxH2O times. So almost all the carbohydrates are essentially found to conform to this molecular formula, and hence they were called as carbohydrates. But later on they found there are some compounds which showed the characteristics of a carbohydrate but did not belong to this formula, like ramenose. And more interestingly, there were a large number of organic compounds which had a conformation to this kind of a molecular formula but did not belong to the category because they did not have any properties that are shown by a carbohydrate. Now, for example, formaldehyde, it is CH2O. You got acetic acid, which we know is CH3COH. You can write it as C2H4O2. You got lactic acid, that again conforms to this kind of molecular formula, but we know essentially they are not belonging to this category. So this led to a change in the name of the group of compounds called carbohydrates. Now we, instead of calling them carbohydrates, we call them as saccharides. So what is essentially a saccharide? A saccharide is an organic compound which has many OH groups, that is, it is a polyhydroxy group compound containing an aldehyde or a ketone. So we can generally refer to saccharides as polyhydroxy aldehydes or ketones, or compounds which on hydrolysis gives a compound which is a polyhydroxy aldehyde or ketone. So this is the new definition of a saccharide. So that we must essentially know. In this we have a class of compounds called sugars, all of us know. But sugars are only one group of carbohydrates which are soluble in water, has a very sweet taste, etc. So it is a part of the group of compounds called carbohydrates. So we generally commonly call them as saccharides, carbohydrates, sugars, but essentially they are meaning the same, but small differences anyhow there. Okay. So let us restrict ourselves to the study of saccharides now. Now saccharides. Most important and interesting thing about saccharides is their classification. How they are classified? Primarily they are classified depending upon the functional group. If it is an aldehyde containing saccharide, it is called an aldose. If it is a ketone containing saccharide, it is called ketose. Now remember, almost all carbohydrates or saccharides end with the letters OSE. So aldehyde containing aldose, ketone containing ketose. Depending upon the number of carbons, we call them triose, 3 carbon system, tetrose, pentose, hexose, etc. That again is another category. We also classify depending upon the nature, chemical nature, that is whether it belongs to a reducing sugar or a non-reducing sugar type. What do you mean by reducing sugar? These are sugars which can easily react with Tollens reagent and give a silver mirror. Okay. Such groups of compounds are called as reducing sugars, and those which do not give a silver mirror with Tollens reagent are referred to as the non-reducing sugars. And all monosaccharides are generally referred to as reducing sugars. And the most simplest example of a non-reducing sugar is cane sugar. That is the ordinary sugar that we use, cane sugar. Okay. So this is a classification based on actually it is functionality, but then again I am telling you, all monosaccharides, irrespective of whether it is an aldose or a ketose, belongs to the reducing category. Okay. Next we move to another type of classification, that is based on the configuration. See, almost all sugars, all carbohydrates, all saccharides are supposed to have begun from glyceraldehyde. Glyceraldehyde is CHO, CHOH, CH2OH, and there is an asymmetric carbon. In the asymmetric carbon, the OH position could be on the right hand side or left hand side. It is an old kind of nomenclature. If the OH is on the right hand side, it is called the D type glyceraldehyde, glyceraldehyde D. And if the OH is on the left hand side, it is called L-glyceraldehyde. It is just a configuration, and Emil Fischer designated it. Okay. And that was the basis. And sugars that have been derived from D-glyceraldehyde were called D series of sugars, and those that were derived from L-glyceraldehyde were called the L series of carbohydrates or saccharides. And interesting thing to remember is almost all our naturally occurring sugars or carbohydrates or saccharides belong to the D category. That's why even if you say glucose D that represents again it belongs to the D series or D family of sugars. This is another classification. One more classification is depending upon the hydrolysis product. If you take a saccharide, make it to undergo hydrolysis using a mild acid, if no change takes place, then it is called a monosaccharide. If a saccharide on hydrolysis gives two individual monosaccharides, it is called a disaccharide. If it gives three, it is called trisaccharides. If you get a very large number of saccharide molecules, then that saccharide is called a polysaccharide. So, we classify them depending upon the basis of the hydrolysis product. Here, one interesting thing is the classification is either monosaccharides, that is no more hydrolysis possible. Then you got oligosaccharide. Oligosaccharide generally refers to those saccharides which on hydrolysis gives 2 to 10. It's just a general thing. It can't be not hard and fast, but between 2 to 10, if monosaccharides are possible on hydrolysis, then that saccharide is referred to as the oligosaccharide. If a large number are obtained, then it is called a polysaccharides. Okay. This again you must remember. Now, for example, glucose, fructose, etc. belong to the monosaccharide class. And our oligosaccharide, ordinary sugar, table sugar that we know is a disaccharide. So, you got that kind. Then polysaccharides, all of us know it is cellulose, and you got starch, all this belongs to polysaccharides. So, this is the essential classification of saccharides. Okay. You can classify depending upon these three categories. Now, let us talk in detail about saccharides. I said earlier that saccharides belong to two classes, D type and L type. D type refers to D-glyceraldehyde series of sugars, the other represents the L series of sugars that comes from L-glyceraldehyde. Now, when you take a look at D-glyceraldehyde, there is a CHO, then CHOH, then you got a CH2OH. It has an asymmetric carbon. Okay. There are three carbons, therefore, it is called a triose. So, D-glyceraldehyde is the most simple polyhydroxyaldehyde. So, it is the simplest form of a saccharide. Now, when you add one more carbon, it becomes a tetrose. A new carbon is added, and to this new carbon, you have an OH and an H. So, there are two possibilities. The OH could be on the right hand side, H could be on the left hand side, or the other way, the OH could be on the left hand side and the H on the right hand side. So, from D-glyceraldehyde, you get, it is a triose, we get 4 carbon sugar saccharides, that is tetroses. So, from that tetrose, which has 4 carbons, you can add one more carbon. In that one more carbon, you have an OH on the right hand side or OH on the left hand side. So, from the first you get 2, from the second you get another 2. Okay. You get how many pentoses? You get 4 pentoses. So, you start with one triose, you got 2 tetrose. From the 2 tetrose, you got 4 pentose. These pentoses further will lead to what? What molecules? 4 will give 8 hexoses. So, triose 1, tetrose 2, pentose 4, hexose 8. So, this is the series, D series of sugar. Similarly, you get that for a L series. Okay? You remember this. I will tell you a very easy method to remember the names of this sugars. Okay? And including structure, you can always remember. Now, for example, you start off with glyceraldehyde. From glyceraldehyde, the 3 carbon system, you get 2 tetroses. They are erythrose and threose. From that, you get 4 pentoses, ribose, arabinose, xylose, lixose. Okay? From that, you get 8. What are the 8? Allose, maltose, glucose, mannose, glucose, iodose, galactose, talose. Okay? So, you get 8 different hexose sugar. How do you remember these names? It's very easy. All of us can just remember it very easily. Get, G stands for glyceraldehyde, ET stands for erythrose and threose. So, get, I think rascal you will never forget. So, don't remember rascal, remember Raxel. Get Raxel. Glyceraldehyde, erythrose, threose, Raxel, ribose, arabinose, xylose, lixose. So, get Raxel. That is the first set. From that, you move to the 8 hexoses. How do you remember the names of the 8 hexoses? I am going to give a sentence. Remember that sentence, you will never forget any of these hexose sugar. The sentence is this: all altruists gladly make gum in Gallatin tank. All altruists gladly make gum in Gallatin tank. Who is an altruist? Who is an altruist? An altruist is a person who will say that I can do anything. You tell him to go and fetch a stone from moon, he'll say yes. Such kind of people are called altruists. Now, Gallatin is a alloy which melts off at 30-40 degrees Celsius. And when you want to make gum is making the jaggery, you have to heat for 5, 6, 8 hours continuously. So, if you can take a Gallatin tank and try to make jaggery or gum out of it, it will immediately melt and you will not get anything. But an altruist will say that I can make in it. So, now read the sentence once again. All altruists gladly make gum in Gallatin tank. All, first two letters, aloes, gladly, GL or leather, glucose, altros. Okay, you can these beginning words you get all the 8 hexoses. So you remember this word. Okay, you can find the names coming automatically from the first letters of this. All aloes, all altruists, altros, glucose, mannose. All altruists gladly make gum in Gallatin tank. Gum, gulose. In iodos, Gallatin, galactose, tank, talose. So all the 8 you can easily remember. So this is how you remember. And again, structure, if you are smart enough, you can remember. In glyceraldehyde, OH on the right hand side. Erythros, triose, erythros, both OH on the right hand side. Triose, one OH on the right hand side, the other OH on the left hand side. Okay, that is the basis for the next pentose. From erythros, both OH are on the right hand side. The next ribose, all the 3 will be on the right hand side. Next 2 will be the right hand side, next will be the left hand side. So easily you can find out and remember all the structures also. Okay, because you may get a compound question, which of the following represents ribose. So for that case, you will have to remember the structures also. So it is very easy to remember the D series of sugars, and these are naturally occurring sugars which are found abundantly in nature. So you will have to remember this also. Okay, this is an easy method to remember the names. Here we are going to discuss the reducing and non-reducing sugars. Here we can experimentally find out what kind of reactions are shown by reducing sugars and non-reducing sugars. For this we can use filling solution. Filling solution is made of 2 solutions. One is sodium potassium tartrate and the other is alkaline copper sulfate. When we add a sample of filling solution to glucose and then place it in a water bath, if it is a reducing sugar, it converts the filling solution to a red-brown precipitate, and this red-brown precipitate is due to the formation of Cu2O. The same test can be carried out in the case of lactose and maltose. Both these are also reducing sugars. They convert filling solution to red-orange precipitate. So those sugars which convert filling solution to red-orange precipitate are called as reducing sugars. Whereas in the case of sucrose, when you mix it with filling solution, keep it in a water bath, there is no change. So this indicates that sucrose is a non-reducing sugar. The chemistry behind this. Glucose normally is in the solution state, it is a ring structure, where due to an hemiacetal reaction. When this is added in filling solution, it opens up the ring structure, resulting in the formation of a chain structure, open chain structure, where the C1 carbon now is an aldehyde group, free aldehyde group. This free aldehyde group converts the filling solution, blue color, into red-orange precipitate due to its oxidizing character. The CHO gets oxidized to COH. Now, in the case of fructose, it is a ketose sugar, and when its solution is taken in filling solution, it opens up the ring, and once it opens up, the CO gets isomerizes with the neighboring C1 carbon, resulting in the formation of CHO. So this is the reason why fructose also gives a red-orange precipitate with filling solution. Whereas in the case of maltose, the glucose molecules are connected by C1OC4 linkage, a glycosidic linkage. So the C1 of one glucose molecule is blocked. whereas the C1 of the second ring is having a pre-emissital group, and this can open up with filling solution and resulting in the formation of free CHO, and therefore it gives a positive test with filling solution. It converts blue color into red-orange precipitate. Now, when you consider the case of lactose, lactose is a molecule made up of glucose and galactose. Here, the galactose molecule C1 carbon is binded to the glucose molecule by glycosidic linkage. It's blocked. Whereas the glucose molecules C1, it is in the hemiacetal ring, but which opens up in the filling solution, and this C1 now becomes CHO. This free CHO gets oxidized to COH by filling solution, resulting in the formation of a red-orange precipitate. Now, when you see a case of a non-reducing sugar like sucrose. Sucrose is a disaccharide made up of a molecule of glucose and fructose. In the glucose, the C1 carbon is binded by the glycoside linkage to the fructose molecule, and therefore it's blocked. Whereas the fructose molecule, that again in the hemiacetal ring formation is also blocked, and this does not open up in the filling solution medium in the solution phase. Therefore, it does not have a free aldehyde group, therefore it does not change the color filling solution. That's why it is a non-reducing sugar. Now let us recap what we have studied. The carbohydrates that are oxidized by oxidizing agents like filling solution are called as reducing sugars. Those carbohydrates which are not oxidized by oxidizing agents like filling solution are called non-reducing sugars. And a reducing sugar will bear a free aldehyde group in the solution phase, whereas a non-reducing sugar does not have a free aldehyde group.